name's Megan Louise Broadbeck, or MLB for short. Facebook usually knows when there's going to be like an awesome live happening because it just trips out and doesn't let it happen on the tech side of things. So I've been trying to get onto my beautiful soul sisters Facebook Live, Nikii Syme, for a Sunday Soul Sesh Jam, and it just was not happening. Yeah, so we're just going to go on my page and hopefully this will work out. Yeah, I think we're getting it now.
Oh my God. Seriously?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi. Oh my God. That like has never happened. It knows.
It's so funny, hey?
It knows.
It just weirdly happens sometimes. Hey, babe.
We got there. Yay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm just going to very quickly jump on and share this so that people know where to come.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hello, all the peeps jumping on. Marta, Joel, I see you. Aaron, Lover, Denny, Kelly. Hey, guys. Say hello. Say where you're dropping in from. Hashtag replay if you are jumping on the replay. Yay, Sky. Hello, Angela. Hi, lovelies.
I can't see anyone that's jumping on now either. Is that normal? I haven't done the other way around.
Sometimes it just like lags and it'll come through.
Okay, cool.
It'll come around.
All right.
Hey, beautiful people. Throw us a love heart if you're here, if you can hear us. All good. Hi, Grace. Hi. Exciting.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good.
I've been so
I'm really pumped. Sorry?
I've been so hanging out for this conversation.
Yes. Really, really exciting. So excited. My Facebook challenge is kicking off tomorrow too, so that's also super exciting. A couple people in there are on this at the moment. Yay, repping. Awesome. So fun. How are you, beautiful?
I'm great, actually. I've just had a really lovely weekend and a really beautiful day with my family today. It was just perfect. In the sunshine, we went to this gorgeous, it was like a little sustainability festival, family fun day thing, and near where we live, and it was just magic. You know, you just have those beautiful days. Right? Yeah, it's just perfect.
Amazing.
What did you get up to?
I took a bit of a day off, in all honesty, and just connected a little bit, supported a friend, just family time, which was beautiful, which was interesting. So I was planning this massive work weekend, just getting super productive, but my body was like, no, not this weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
But it was nice. It was really good.
And how great that you
Hi, love. Yeah.
Okay,
What is the challenge? So it is called the 5 Faces of the Feminine challenge. So I can pop a little link in after we're finished so that you can check it out. We're just playing essentially for a week, playing with our feminine and some Jungian archetypes. And it's just a group for women to kind of really go there with themselves, which is really, really fun. So I'll pop the link down.
How many days? A
little bit of red. Exciting.
Yeah. A nice little organic drop that I'm trying. It's really nice.
Amazing. Yeah, it's 5 days. It's a 5-day challenge.
Awesome. All right. Let's do this. Guilt and shame as a woman. Holy. So I wanted to start off with just clarifying a little bit around the difference between guilt and shame, just so that people kind of have an understanding, because the line can often be quite blurred, and I didn't really have a clear grasp on it until recently when I was listening to a bit of Brene Brown, and she actually sums it up beautifully. So guilt and shame, the difference between the two is guilt is feeling bad for something that you have done. So oh, maybe you stole something and you think of it in a way of, oh, I feel bad for having done that. I shouldn't have done that. And that's guilt. Whereas shame, on the other hand, is when you're actually choosing to believe that you are a bad person because of something that has happened. So maybe you went out and you had a one night stand, and shame would be showing up as, I am a slut, I am a whore.
Yeah.
You've started a business and it's failing, or it's not going as well as you think it is. Shame shows up as, I'm a failure, I am not good enough. Whereas guilt is feeling bad about a situation as opposed to making it about who you are. So I just really wanted to clarify that so that people had a really clear understanding of the difference between the two, because I think it's really important.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I think as well, it's the shame, it's not necessarily also about an act, a behavior, an event itself. It can just be something that you deem unacceptable about yourself. It's not approved of. That can just be a characteristic, something about yourself, which I'm sure we'll go into as well. But I love that distinction. Thank you.
No problem. Cool. So what is your experience with, let's start with shame. How has shame personally impacted your life?
And a lot, I think, a lot as a woman. And you don't notice it because the thing is with shame and guilt is that they're so suppressed. They're so just pushed down because it's this really heavy, gunky feeling, and we don't like to experience it. So it's really, really pushed down beneath the surface, and you may not even realize that it's there unconsciously. You may be carrying shame about yourself that you had no idea about, but it was there deep beneath the surface. And so, yeah, I don't know, for me, it's just so much of it was unconscious, so much of it was attached to unconscious beliefs about myself and things that I thought were unacceptable. There was a lot, like particularly around being a woman, like shame around the depth and intensity of my emotion, shame around experiencing like PMS, shame around menstruation, like this, there was this huge, like, deep shame about that, and like a lack of approval of myself.
Shame around enjoying sex.
Yes, huge one. Shame around enjoying sex. That is this massive, massive thing, and that's definitely come up for me. Is just, just I'm not actually approving of that part of myself. It's just, it kind of really snowballs. Like you don't really quite grasp how much unconsciously you've been suppressing until you sort of dive into that, into what you deem to be taboo. And then under the surface, once you kind of touch on what you deem to be taboo and what you hide about yourself, something that brings something up energetically in the surface when you think about talking about it to someone else, that's when you understand like where the shame is actually lying and what behaviors, characteristics, traits about yourself you actually are ashamed of. So it's really hard, I think. Well, now that I think about it, it's like actually quite hard for me to really pinpoint very specific behaviors and things in which I've held shame around, because they're all kind of interacting as well, and they have been largely unconscious. But I think generally, as a woman, I've held a lot of shame, specifically around my body, specifically around Life King sex, and specifically around like menstruation and the depth of my emotion. I think those are the main things in which I've really held shame about.
Yeah. That depth of emotion stuff I think would ring true for a lot. It definitely does for me. And I remember being, people saying to me, oh, you're just too much, you're too intense, you go too deep, you feel too much. And
you're crazy. I used to get that a lot. You're just fucking crazy. You're a crazy bitch.
Just lighten up. Like, why do you have to be so intense?
Yeah.
I'm just feeling.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of women like would experience that on some level, because especially when like kind of the men come in and you're in a relationship and you get called crazy because you're experiencing emotion. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, without realizing, like you said, that stuff gets suppressed, it gets pushed down, and it's these little thoughts in the back of your head that are like the ones that you don't share with anyone, the habitual things going on that prevent you from truly showing up as who you truly are in this world. And that's often, the shame. I'm ashamed of who I am. I'm ashamed of this aspect of myself. So I'm just going to keep it really hidden and not share it with anyone. Just keep it for myself.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's really sad.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're suppressing parts of ourselves, and the more, the more I feel that we create this heavy energy around who we be, like our characteristics or things that we do, just this heaviness around just who we're being in this world, then I think it's just this prime opportunity to create suffering, and it's more opportunity for things to remain taboo and unacceptable. And it just perpetuates, and it creates a lack of freedom, and it perpetuates a belief of lack and separation in my eyes. Oh, thanks, Rochelle. Beautiful. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's really, really important to voice what we deem to be taboo, because it's only when we stop talking about it, once it remains suppressed, that it remains taboo, that it remains something that's unacceptable, because so many of these experiences with which we all feel shame about, it's so common, it's really collective, and we can't hold each other, support each other, and see that this is normal and acceptable unless we voice, hey, this is something I hold shame about, and then someone else can say, oh, well, I resonate with that characteristic, like, oh, I like sex too, or I feel really deeply too, and yeah, I've held shame around that as well, like, wow, what is that, why is that the case, and being able to support each other through that, and then making it not hidden. Yeah.
Because when you, and I don't know about you, but when I'm sure you feel the same, but when you realize or feel like you are, supported by others and who are going through the same thing, it really takes that heavy energy and it makes it just so much lighter, because you can actually go, oh, okay, I'm not alone. What I'm experiencing, like I had massive stuff around body image for years, and I used to be a binge and purger, and I would do that like in secrecy in the privacy of my own home when my flatmate was out, and I would go to the shops and I would buy all this food, and because I had such a fucked relationship with my body, I would deprive myself, and then have these massive binge sessions, and then feel like so fucking disgusting and so ashamed of myself. Yeah, and I would go and throw it up. But you're in that alone, and you're so detached from that kind of connection with others to be able to support you and to share that stuff with, and just to feel held and safe. And I think that's that whole sisterhood thing is really missing, and I really want to, in my lifetime, really see that coming back massively, because when we come together and we support each other in that way, oh, there are no words. It makes me emotional. Like I want to cry because it's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I think a key thing that creates ongoing shame, is not sharing it. And the fear behind not sharing it is out of a fear of social exclusion, not being understood and being isolated from others. And so, we get to understand that others experience the same thing. And then that fear of isolation is totally gone. There's nothing to fear anymore. And we just completely support and hold each other. And then it's like, why was I ashamed in the first place? We just completely obliterate all of it.
Yeah.
it's so powerful when we get to hold each other. And yeah, I feel you on the sisterhood thing. It's just such a beautiful and powerful thing. So powerful. Humans were like aliens to me growing up.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm finding my
Mm,
guy that's awesome. Yeah, and it's
mm,
so important, like finding that tribe that you can just be you with. You can show up vulnerably. You can really, let down those guards that are keeping you from stepping into your truth and that stuff that you're ashamed of.
mm.
Yeah, it's really powerful, and it's not something. And like I've had a lot of guy friends in my time, and it's just not the same kind of thing that you can get from a woman. Like they're cool, and I think they're way more blasé about that stuff, and they're just like, yeah, it's fine, just let it go, or fix it, fix. But to feel fully supported,
Mm.
loved, and held, and have space held for you by a woman is like, whoa, yeah, it's intense, it's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I think, do you mind if I speak on that a little bit?
Go
Just,
for it.
yeah, I think both are really important.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, in one sense, women understand and completely get that depth of emotion and the same experiences, I guess, as a woman that a man wouldn't understand, and we can totally hold each other. And that's really important in this day and age in healing the wounded feminine that comes from um, like gossip and resentment and comparison with other women, all the sister wounds. Like that's why it's so important that we get to hold each other in that, and we do understand each other as women. And in order to hold our men up to the highest that they can possibly be, we get to provide the space and opportunity for them to hold us in the best way that they possibly can. So the wounded masculine doesn't particularly always know how to hold that much emotion and how to like hold the woman. And the integrated masculine, like he is so fucking safe, and he absolutely knows how to hold the feminine. And I think just that's something I think is really important to me, is acknowledging that it's really important that we do fucking both, that we give the masculine that opportunity and allow him space to be able to step into that and be that for us and be that for the feminine. Because when he's in his fully integrated, like conscious king fucking energy, he can do that so
Mm-hmm.
much so. And it's different. We get both serve us, both are really effective, but we also get to do that with the masculine in a really powerful way. And as conscious queens, stepping into the most like integrated, like with this rise of the feminine, stepping into the most integrated version of ourselves we possibly can, we we get to allow and trust that the masculine can do that and be in our own power and be held, and from a place of power, not victimhood, allow the masculine to hold us. I think both are really, really important and like so beautiful. So
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. We get to, while we rise as women, we get to hold each other and also allow the masculine to rise. Yeah, Rochelle, me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like I have experienced that with my partner now, and I don't think he actually even is aware of what he's doing, which I really find quite interesting because he's quite like he's not someone who's kind of like, oh, I'm conscious. I'm like, but we have moments where I'm just like, oh, you actually know a bit more than you're letting on. Um, but he's incredible in the way that he holds space for me. And I remember when I had my second child, and oh God, I'm gonna cry. Oh my God, I must be premenstrual or something. No, I'm not. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the wine. But I remember when I had my second son, and it was a really, really hard time for me. I was losing it completely. Like I was just so overwhelmed. And there was one night when I was upstairs in the shower, and I would just lost it. And I just cried. I was sobbing, and I was down on my knees. I just had the water pouring over me, and he just knew to come upstairs, and all he did was sit down next to me and put his hand on my back. And then he got in the shower with me, and he just held me, and that was exactly what I needed in that moment. And he knew exactly what to do. in the past, I've had times where I've been in that kind of state, and well, not quite so intense, but with other partners, and it's been very much, you know, he's come in and, oh, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, oh no, it's fine. So you're fine. Whereas with Gary, he's just a bit more in touch with that stuff without even knowing it, I don't think, and just knew that all I needed in that moment was to be held and to be able to release. And
Yes.
I was just blown away by that. It was like I'd never really experienced that from a partner before, or from a male before, and it was incredible. And I didn't feel like a victim. I just felt loved and seen.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yes. And that speaks to, I think, it's the wounded masculine that resists the feminine, that has no idea what to do in that situation. It's like, nope, I'm out of here. I don't understand your emotion. How do I fix it? Or you're fine. Like, no. And it's avoidance or like flight. Whereas, the integrated man, he dances with his own feminine and respects and understands it such that he can hold you in yours. And it's so beautiful. I love that you had that experience. So nice. Hey, beautiful goddess Lecky. How are you, girlfriend?
Yeah, Lecky. Queen. Yeah, so guilt. How does that show up for you?
What guilt have I held on to?
Yeah. I had a lot of guilt. I think it's one of those things is where you don't process it, you just hold on to it, and you don't know it's there. Very much so. You know, I had something I recently tapped into, I did not know was there, was I had guilt that I had sabotaged my relationship with my father, gave him no chance to reconcile our relationship. I had guilt for in a stage of my life, my mother needing, I guess, extra support as a mother than normally needing to, and me choosing me in that moment, which is hilarious. Like, that's the most effective, and I'm so glad that I did. But at the time, choosing me and choosing to step away from the situation, like, I held guilt for that, putting me first. I held guilt. So how did you feel that manifesting in your body? Like, because you know, for me, I feel everything. So did you feel it in your body? Like, how did it really manifest for you in your life from that situation?
Yeah, like really constricted, heavy, kind of sick a little bit, especially as like I pretty much cheated on like all of my partners until my most recent partner. So that was something that like I held on to so much, and one of those things that can make you feel really sick because you're holding on to it, and just really constricted in the body. Like, I really felt the energy in like in my womb and in my stomach, and just you just feel it in the body. And I feel it's this contraction. It's really a contraction, and it can manifest in all different ways, like distrust. Like, I realized that all this distrust I had about the masculine was just projected because I had no trust of myself. Like, everything that I disliked about them was just what I disliked about myself. Yes. So it just came up in other ways, like stories about men always cheating, and like, oh, that's interesting. So it just comes up in little beliefs, and then it feels heavy and icky in the body. You feel like you're not clear, like things are stagnant and just really constricted and tight. That seems like there's a little bit of a block too, like in communication. Like, for me, like, I guess my relationship with my mother, to an extent, I was like, I don't know how to communicate here anymore. Like, there's a bit of a block. like I'd put up some kind of barrier because I wasn't processing my own energy. So to keep myself safe, it was like, I'm going to put up some walls here. And it's just really, it was sort of reducing the amount of authentic and deep connection that I was able to open myself to, because I wasn't spacious. There was too much energy blocked. Like there was too much energy stored in the body, I think. So I think that's, yeah, if that answers your question,
Yeah,
I guess that's sort of how it just shows up, when you don't process it. It can come up in so many ways in the body and in the beliefs and in all of the situations in your life that are reflected back to you. It shows up.
definitely. And I think like was it guilt or shame? So I had, was it guilt? No, I think it was shame actually. Just feeling. I was with a guy who was beautiful. He was amazing, and I'd planned to go overseas. I was about to go on a trip for 6 weeks, and I met this guy a couple of months before, and I was like, I just want to be able to go and have fun and not be tied down. Of course, I fell in love with this guy, and but there was something not right, so our sex life wasn't great, and I knew that I didn't want to be with him, that I couldn't continue to be with him because of this reason. And I remember, like, he was passionate and excited, like, great, but there was just something not right. And so I knew
Mm.
about it. I knew that it was off. I went overseas and I cheated on him while I was overseas because I obviously wasn't getting what I needed sexually. Um, but when I came back, so I told him about it straight away and I felt terrible. When I came back, we tried to continue it for a bit and it didn't work. So I was like, okay, and I just sabotaged it and ruined it because I had broken the trust. And then I couldn't believe that I was worthy of being loved again for what I had done. So I damaged it, but already knew I wanted out of it anyway. So it was like this really fucked situation where I could
Oh
have
my God.
just walked away, right? When I knew that
So
it wasn't.
resonate.
Yeah, but I put myself and him through all this crap. Anyway, so when it broke up, I was like, right, I can't process this right now. Threw myself into training for a triathlon. And then when I finished the triathlon, I obviously had the massive come down from the triathlon and I spiraled into a massive, I'm just trying to really feel, I think it was shame. Yeah, because I remember just thinking, I'm a fucking terrible person. Like, I can't
It can
believe
be
I did
so
that.
synonymous though. They can be so hard to separate. They
A bit of
really,
both.
yeah,
But I
really
fell
interesting.
into, yeah, and I fell into this relationship with a guy who was not right for me. And I started drinking every night. I was smoking weed every night. I was doing other drugs on a consistent basis. I wasn't, showing up to work as well. Like I just fell into this pit and I knew this guy was not right for me, but I was punishing myself. And this was how my guilt and shame was manifesting in my life, through self-punishment and self-destruction. And that continued for 6 months. 6 months
Mm,
until I
yeah,
finally, had that wake up. A girlfriend. I was so lucky to have this beautiful friend who just came to me and said, "Nick, this is not right. You need to stop this." And that's when I went, right, that's it. Cut it off, cutting off all the guys, and I spent the next 7 months working on myself, like just being with myself 100% and processing everything. Um, but yeah, that whole manifestation of these emotions that I just hadn't I hadn't allowed myself to process at the time, and just feeling I felt so much guilt for what I had done to him because I knew that he wasn't right for me, but I put him through that and hurt him. I felt guilt for that, and then I felt shame for being a slut or being a cheater. So it was definitely, actually, now that I've talked about it more and really connected with that, yeah, just like it was definitely a coupling of the two. And then that manifested in me self-destructing and really abusing myself in a way that
yeah, and we really hold on to them, especially if it's seen as confirmation of our really core wounding. If it's,
mm,
we're ashamed of ourselves, and like I'm a slut, and it's like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough.
Mm.
They sort of really link into our most core wounds, and we hold on to them because it's like evidence for the ego. It's
Yeah.
evidence for your most limiting beliefs, and it can be difficult to let go of those. I
Confirmation.
think someone
You are
asked,
an asshole. You are an asshole. Oh, I'm an asshole. Yeah, you are. I'll keep showing you that if you keep
yeah, I'm going
believing
to hold on to
that.
this guilt and shame in order to remind myself that I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
So the difference was, Sky, yeah, so the difference was guilt is something you hold around something that you have done, I think you said, and then shame
Yeah,
was around something
I
that
am.
you deem like unacceptable, or that you don't approve of about yourself, or about the act. Is that correct?
Yeah, so guilt is something that you've done that you feel bad about, but it's actually you're feeling, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I feel bad about that action. Whereas shame is connecting the I am to it. So you've slept around, you've slept with multiple partners, and the shame would be, I am a slut, I am a whore, or, I am fat, I am unworthy of love, whatever it is. That's in the I am state. I am form. Hey, Kim.
Girlfriend.
Tammy McNulty.
Mm.
At least you realized and owned it. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you both owned it. Yep. Yes. If anyone else has a shame story that they'd like to share, don't hesitate to pop it in the comments. Or if there's anything that you want some answers on or some clarity, that's what we're here for, my loves. Share.
Mm.
So processing it.
Yeah.
Gonna...
I was just going to say, because we were going to bring up the topic of sabotage a little bit, how that has the shame like played into sabotage of a relationship. Um, like I
Oh.
feel such resonance around that,
Yep.
around that, like just like shame about myself and guilt about cheating, and shame about staying in a relationship I knew I didn't want to be in, and then sabotaging it through cheating.
Yeah.
Like just yeah, just this like cycle that you go through. Oh, we've got a question here. How do you get around deeply conditioned beliefs that lead to detrimental behaviors?
For example, shame stemming from the religious belief that an external entity passes judgment upon you or something to this effect. Ooh, good question.
I think that the wording in there is interesting, is how you get around deeply conditioned beliefs. My response to that is, why are we skipping around them? Why are you walking around them rather than removing them if they're not effective for you?
Facing
That's,
off them, going and feeling it and going towards it, not like you say around it.
yeah. And I guess it comes down to your awareness and choice about the situation. It's if you're aware of beliefs leading to detrimental behaviors, well, what do you then choose regarding that? I know that it can be difficult to choose to no longer, take action, like ineffective action, detrimental behaviors. If it's coming from a deeply conditioned belief, it's something that you get to work through, in removing, in order to make that choice easier to take action on and embody. Um, but yeah, it's awareness and choice, and it's yeah, create new ones. I love that. Yeah, I think. Do you have any more to add on that question, Christos? Because um, yeah.
See, the stuff though, I think too, like with the stuff that is deeply, deeply conditioned, it can be a lot harder to just choose. Like, it's such a
Yeah.
habit to be stuck in that often experiencing or going into, like, I've found breath work absolutely incredible for really releasing. Like, there's so many amazing modalities out there that can help you clear that stuff. But like with anything, your awareness around it is definitely key.
Mm-hmm.
You can start putting in the practice of creating new beliefs and changing those thought patterns and really working on that to change the mental stuff on a cellular level and a core level. I would definitely recommend going and finding a modality, breath work, look into the O2 Awakening. Freaking amazing. One of the most profound healing experiences I've ever had in my life. And I cleared some incredible stuff with that. But yeah, there's all sorts of things like Reiki and I don't know what else. My mind's drawn a blank.
There's a lot you can do. Anything that's like somatic, like dynamic meditation, Reiki, breath work, plant medicine. No, don't create more limiting beliefs. That's hilarious. I don't agree with that. Yeah. The thing is, that it's so
You're missing the
point. Yeah, I think it comes down to a desire to remove the beliefs and like an awareness around if they're creating detrimental behaviors. Especially if it's coming from a religion, that some people may not want to have a look at that. Some people may not want to adjust, or it may be difficult for them. So you get to either you can remove it completely or adjust how it works for you and just compromise a little bit. For some, it may be a bit difficult to just remove them. And as we've said, it can take some really deep work to actually remove the limiting beliefs. I really believe in mindset work and somatic practice as it combined to actually really free those freeing beliefs. Yeah. Love that.
And I think religion's a chunky one, hey, like, because that's carried on as well. That's not just you, that's carried on through generations. Like if that is something, Christos, that you are actually feeling into yourself, there's possibly some really deep core stuff with that would be carried on through past lives and other generations. So yeah, I would really definitely start using that mindfulness and changing your thoughts and belief systems, etc. Meditation, just really hanging out, journaling, powerful. But into definitely the somatic stuff as well, and breath work, I think will just change your life. How would you help a strict materialist whose poor mental health comes from fear of death? Oh, fear of death. One who doesn't believe in an afterlife or anything alluding to the supernatural. I found no adequate answer to it in the traditional discipline of psychology as of yet. Thank you for answering.
Materialist. Well, I love these questions. Oh my God. It's interesting is like personally I believe that I will never die, but I don't know that to be true. So the thing that matters to me is, in this moment, is it effective for me to allow that fear? Is it effective for me to continue living with that fear, living my conservative life, particularly if you have a belief that there's no afterlife and you're conserving your life from this place of fear of death? It's like you're essentially afraid of living because you're going to die and because you don't know what's going to come after that. It's like, how effective is it to hold on to that belief? Whereas you can adopt a belief that, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to make the most of what's here right now, and I'm going to do what's most effective for me right now and what's most fulfilling, what makes me feel most alive, in case there is no such thing as the afterlife. I think that's my response, is like, how fulfilling can you make your current life if you don't believe you'll have another one? And does that fear of death actually assist you in reaching that fulfillment and depth of fulfillment? It's something to just, I guess, think about. And Sky, somatic practice is, do you want to respond?
I was just going to add to that, is that your beliefs are all choices. So, every single thing that you believe to be true is something that you are still choosing to believe to be true. And with that awareness, then you can actually start creating a different choice for yourself, a different belief for yourself. And I'm the same. Like, none of us have any idea what happens after death. None of us. And we're never going to until we die. And then when we're dead, well, whatever's happening is happening. So you can either allow a fear of something that you have absolutely zero control over to control your life right now and prevent you from actually living and experiencing all that this life has to offer, that you are guaranteed. Like right now, you are guaranteed. You're alive, you're breathing. Like this moment is all that you have. So you can either choose to really fall into that and lean into that and experience life in this moment, or you can prevent yourself from fully living now in fear of something that you have absolutely zero idea about. You have no idea what is going to happen. But you can also choose to create a belief that there is something after this. There is more to this. My belief is that this is not it. This is not all there is. I believe there's stages, and we're all on this ever-evolving journey into expansiveness. Like, come on, the universe, come on, like, seriously, how can this just be it? And I believe we're so much more than just our physical forms, you know? So that, since I've had kids, I've definitely noticed a lot more fear stuff around dying, purely because I want to watch my kids grow up. I don't want my kids to ever be without their mum. Like, I'm so in love with my children that the thought of leaving them just makes me want to throw up. So that's been a really big challenge for me. But that whole choice and believing that when I do pass, I will still get to watch them grow, or, you know, I choose to believe that there's more to life. So Christos, if that's something that you want to explore and create some beliefs for yourself, choose to believe something that serves you to enable you to really live in this life without that fear. Oh, that just came out. I love that when the tap's open. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, please fire any more questions.
I'll just answer quickly. Sky, somatic practice. So somatic work is essentially about the body and tapping into energy that is stored at a cellular level. Anything that is stored, like trauma, the body is imprinted with your experiences and your beliefs. So as much as you can use mindset work to change the way you believe, like change the way that you see the world and things that you believe, that will only get you so far if you don't actually empty your cells and your body of all of the trauma that it's storing, that is telling itself how to keep safe. It's like, I need to remember this moment in which we felt traumatized or potentially unsafe in order to prevent it happening again. But most of the time, that's not serving us. So we get to actually release that and remove it. So anything somatic is like to do with the body. So breath work is one of them, just movement is one of them, actually dancing and actually like getting the body to be moved is one thing, like primal screaming, using your voice, just activating,
shaking, anything.
Yeah, and like Reiki, it's anything to try and move the body and things through the body and up and out, in order to release anything that's stagnant or like trauma that's held at a cellular level, basically. So
energy clearance.
Yeah, it's what I believe to be a really key factor in actually releasing your limiting beliefs. I love it, Sky. Do it.
Do you want to just lift your microphone off your top? It's just crackling a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. That's better. Yeah, definitely that energy circulation and just getting it out at a cellular level, because like you said, that the stuff is one thing, but if you don't actually clear the cellular imprints, then you can do a lot of this and still kind of feel pretty stuck. That's been my experience until you kind of really start delving into that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, choices. You can always change the choices you make. Absolutely, Courtney. You people are beautiful. Oh, Sky. I love you. Yeah, definitely. I highly recommend looking into something. Let's have a chat. I'll send you a message anyway, and I can share with you a few things that I've done. Thank you. Crackling was driving me nuts. I didn't know what it was.
Oh, sorry. My bad. I couldn't hear it.
No, all good. And that, like, I wanted to kind of tap into what you were saying just then around the stuff that keeps holding you back, and how it's ego. Like, you kind of have these experiences and these traumas that tap in, that's imprint in your body, and then it's ego that actually keeps attached to those imprints at a cellular level, because the ego's job is to keep you safe. So it uses these memories and these imprints to protect you. And when you start clearing that, so it's really like ego connection. Egos,
The ego lives in the past.
For sure.
And in the body also lives in the past. Something that Dr. Joe Dispenza has talked on a lot is that the body is living in the past. I mean, all of the electrical signals that we're receiving at any moment are interpreted, and they're interpreted after the fact. I mean, they're interpreted after this now moment has ended and we're into the next now moment, and the body is only hearing about the previous now moment and the years and years and years before that, of everything that has been stored up until this moment, that is teaching you who you are, what you believe, all of your experiences, and how to keep safe in amongst all of that. And so that is why, as much as you can focus on the now and be mindful and change your beliefs and whatnot, the ego will still come up and it will still take you back. It will still drag you back into the past and sabotage. The body, if you are not emptied, will take you back to the past ways of being. Despite whatever, like how much work that you have done, it can very quickly snap something in you, and you will go back to old programming because it's in your cells, because it hasn't been cleared yet. And that's the ego's job, I guess, is to bring you back to the past and what was deemed safe, bring you back to what it knows, staying away from the unknown in this now moment or potential future moments, because it can't predict that. It can't keep us safe in the unknown. So that's where sabotage kicks in. That brings us back, brings us way back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. It's that whole, and that's where the body is so incredibly intelligent as well, because it can do that. Like, just think about that for a moment. All of these experiences throughout your life, and the ones that have really landed on you and really implanted in you, it holds on to this. Like, I'm 34 years old. I think I'm 34. Yeah, I'm 34 years old. And I had to think about that for a minute. My entire life, you know, I'm clearing stuff from when I was freaking 4 or 5, 3, younger. Like, I just recently did a thing called Spiral, and I was clearing shit from when I was 2, 3 years old. Like, incredible. And you just don't realize until you go through it and actually get it out how much it's weighing you down. Like, I've done some pretty intense work on myself over the last couple of months, and I feel like I'm floating.
Oh, mama.
Yeah, and there's still so much to do, and that's what I love about this ever-evolving personal development journey, is that it's just a constant unfolding, and the more you delve into it and clear and you face your pain and really go into your pain, the more you clear and the lighter you get and the better it gets. It's just so good.
Yeah. And you get to a point at which you have emptied completely, and then anything that brings you back to suffering from there, anything that is sabotage from there, is just a story. That's just the ego coming back up with limiting beliefs that you believe. Essentially, is that you choose to believe a story again, and then that's where you keep recycling experiences. And it's not, at that point, it's not necessarily the body and the energy and things that haven't been cleared. It's, once you get to that point, is everything is a choice. Everything is a blank canvas. You can either choose fear, old programming, because it's what you're used to, or you can choose love, and you can choose this new expansive way of being, and choose differently and rewire. Playing with ego.
Good question, Amanda. Personal experience is a question that always like to ask myself, when something comes up that doesn't quite feel right, I ask myself, is this my truth? And that's a really fast way to bring you back, to drop you back into your body and go, okay, well, is this actually this something that my ego is trying to tell me to keep me safe or prevent me from moving forward, etc. And I found that really, really effective. I'm struggling with ego at present. What are some strategies to clear your ego? A good place to start. Ego is always going to be there. You're never going to get rid of it. It's learning to work with it and appreciate it for what it does. Like, it's a beautiful thing. It wants to keep you safe. It has a purpose. It serves a purpose. When it becomes deserving is when it's actually impacting your life in a way that is preventing you from living and moving forward and living a full life. So it's not about clearing or getting rid of your ego, because that's never going to happen. It's learning to understand when it is, like I said, your being speaking to you and when it is your ego. And that's as simple. Basically, if it's stirring something in your body that makes you feel uneasy, in my experience, my personal experience, that's ego. When you are faced with something and you make a decision and it feels good and it feels calm and there's no questioning, then you know you're on the right track. Does that make sense? Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it might tie into what Sky said as well. Not being able to control limiting thoughts and behaviors and struggling with ego. The trick is not to be in resistance to it, not to try and control whatsoever. The trick is to let it do its thing and let it just be in the background. Just observe, don't pay any attention to it. Just say, yep, I see you. Thank you for keeping me safe. I don't choose you. And my response to that, I think probably similar to the question you asked, is who is struggling with the ego? Is it the true self? Because the true self has no problems. The true self is infinite, unborn, undying bliss, abundance, love in all moments, in everything. The person that you're playing in this lifetime, the doll that you are, this human being that you're playing with, that is the body and the mind, that is who is struggling with the ego. And you are not that. That is the trick. That is the distinction to make, is you are not that. And you are able to identify that you are not the mind and you are not the ego, and that you are merely observing it. You get to just be at this place where there is a space between you and ego, and that is just this thing that happens in the background, and it's just like, okay, I see you. You're there. You are not me. These thoughts are not me. This body is not me, but I see you, and I don't choose you. So I think the first step is to just observe, to acknowledge, no, I don't choose you, especially if limiting beliefs come up. It's like, these are not mine. These were given to me. These were adopted. This is not me. These are not mine. Observe and don't be in resistance. And yeah, don't enroll. Don't argue with it. Don't fight it. It's just that choice of like, okay, I see you. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I think, and that's where I think meditation is a really powerful tool if you can start utilizing. And one technique that I share with my clients is to sit in meditation and imagining like a film strip kind of cruising through your mind. And this is how I learned to meditate. And whenever you notice a thought, seeing that thought on the film strip, so it just kind of floats on by. So what tends to happen is when we're consumed by our thought, our mind, our ego, a thought will come in, we'll latch onto it, and that creates a feeling and emotion in our body. So what this teaches you to do is allow that thought to come in and allow you to let it go at the same time, rather than attaching that feeling and emotion to it. And it's like you say, it's creating that space between you and the mind, you and the ego, so that you can become the observer of the mind as opposed to being an active participant in the story.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's this beautiful quote. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's essentially be the sky. Your thoughts and your emotions are simply all the clouds that pass by. Remember that you are the sky, you are not the clouds. Yeah, beautiful. I'm so glad. Hopefully that served you. Lovely. Amazing. I feel so good. Does anyone else have any beautiful questions on that at all? Hey, Libby, thank you for jumping on.
Anyone
I
have
love
any
these
stuff
questions.
around shame that they want to delve into, and guilt? Especially as a woman, like, have you noticed shame? So shame and sex was a massive one for me. I was a highly sexual being. I am a highly sexual being. I loved sex, but I loved fucking like a man as well. I love connecting as well. I love having really
It's
passionate.
interesting that you say like a man.
Yes. I like to fuck like a woman as well.
Women like to be ravished and
Yeah.
ravished too.
Definitely. But yeah, that's that conditioning. Booyah, thank you for pulling me up on that. Yeah, and that was something that was always very much taboo, and I felt ashamed for masturbating. I felt shameful for enjoying sex and wanting to have a lot of sex. And that was something I carried around for years and years, and probably still do to a certain extent, actually. It's one that I haven't really delved into clearing massively. But yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else have stuff around sex as a woman? Or body image? Like, body image is a massive one as well.
Body image is so big.
Shame.
I had so much. Yeah, I had so much shame for so long because I so attributed my weight and my body as being equivalent to my worth, and identifying with my body and feeling ashamed of my body and not fitting in with particular standards of society. So that's huge. Oh, I love that. Yes, Sky, thank you so much for sharing.
Not being a
Yeah.
good enough mother.
Mm.
I feel you, sister.
Powerful. All right. Amazing. So I'm feeling pretty complete on here. Is there anything else that you wanted to
No,
on?
I felt that too, actually.
Awesome. Beautiful. Oh, well, thank you so much. I feel like that.
Thank you.
Oh, that was a lovely little wild ride there. It
It
was so, so beautiful. So good. Hey, Brother Reese, we're just about to jump off. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone that did watch all the way through as well, and for your participation. Much appreciated.
Make sure that you pop in the comments about your freebie challenge as well, so that anyone watching can jump in on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I have my free 5-day Facebook challenge that is kicking off tomorrow. So last chance to jump on in there. We are diving into 5 faces of the feminine. So working with Jungian archetypes, which is going to be super fun and just this beautiful, safe and supportive space for women. So I'd love for you to be a part of that. If you'd like to, I will pop a link in the comments. And yeah,
Beautiful.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Nicola.
Thank you
Love
for
you
joining
guys.
us. And thanks to everyone for watching. Much love.
Thanks, guys. Bye.